Disney tweeted this, so I got to snowball and I'm really thinking of something, and I came up with a really great Batman series that's really in tune with the modern age. And if you're looking at that photo, that's not real. That is clickbait. Batman's not a girl, you fucking disgusting horny weeb. Let's get on with it. So the show is called Wayne. Just Wayne, right? And the trailer will be like, Wayne, you can't keep doing this. Wayne, you have to stop. But what the show's about is actually, so it's Bruce Wayne having to deal with the complications of being Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is chilling in his his study at night. Thunderstorm. Thunder. And he's smoking a pipe and he's got his feet up. And then there's a knock at the door. Alfred walks over the door. Yes, hello, who is it then? And there's these two guys, and one of them pulls out an M1911A1 with a big-ass can on it and just says nothing and just goes, probably some sonic rounds, just, and none of that bitch-ass, like, cutaway stuff. Like, Alfred's brains get painted on this fucking hallway in Wayne Manor, like a fucking Quentin Tarantino movie. The other guy lights up a cigarette. They probably, like, pack his body away and you know, drop the N-word about 10 times. So these two guys, right, they have earpieces and suits and stuff, and they're going up to Wayne. And they go up to Wayne, and they're like, Bruce Wayne's like, huh, who the fuck's in my big-ass house? And these two dudes are like, listen, Bruce Wayne, I'm Agent John. And the other guy's like, I'm Agent Smith. Listen, Bruce, everyone's figuring out you're Batman, dude. Like, it's really obvious. You know, we go with the running joke that everybody knows Bruce Wayne's Batman. So he's like, oh, fuck, really? Shit. And so he Googles it or whatever, and he sees that everyone's like the top results for him when he Googles himself are like, it's probably Batman. There's like a bunch of BuzzFeed articles like, top 10 reasons Bruce Wayne's probably Batman. He's like, oh, fuck. But then like the next thing he sees is that, so in this universe, Batgirl and Robin both exist. But, like, so he's like, I'm worried about people seeing him come in and out of the Batcave, like, out of Wayne Manor, because I want people to know they're you know, Batboy and Batgirl or whatever. But then all the articles are like, gee, Wayne, way to pull a Woody Allen move and adopt those kids. He's like, oh, no, fuck, that's not what I'm trying to do. So he's like, he tells this guy, these two secret agents or whatever, he's like, okay, what's your offer? He's like, Batman, I'm sorry, Bruce Wayne, we know you're Batman. We're going to leak it if you don't join the Deep State. And he's like, what the fuck is the Deep State? What? And they're like, oh, we're surprised you haven't heard, Mr. Wayne. We're worried you wouldn't be so cooperative if you didn't join the Deep State, considering you are one of the world's leading philanthropists or whatever. And he's like, the Deep State? What's all that about? And they're like, well, the only way for us not to leak this information is for you to join. So he's like, you got me by the balls, sonnies. So they fucking, they suddenly the guy jumps up and he just stabs a syringe into Bruce Wayne's neck. Faints. They put a bag over his head and wheel him out of Wayne Manor to some undisclosed location. They delete all the security camera footage. And when Bruce Wayne wakes up, he's just got like he's just frothing at the mouth, like, and he looks down and there's just a 14-year-old girl with a bag over her head. He's just railing this 14-year-old girl like, I can't stop. And then the two guys got a camcorder and they're filming the whole thing, and he like blacks out when he just shoots gallons of ropey jizz on this 14-year-old. So then he wakes up and they're like, we have this footage, you're in the Deep State now. He's like, oh, fuck. And they're like, okay, Batman, the only way to get out of the fucking Deep State is you gotta use your Batman shit to ice some of these other fucking cuck politicians who aren't letting us divert the funds we need to build our bunkers in Iceland. And Batman's like, oh, God. And they're like, also, people haven't found out the Batcave, so we're gonna use it as a place to, like, clone humans. So, you know, they're growing all these embryos, and they're growing all these embryos in the Batcave, and Batman's like, fucking, I don't want to fuck kids, this is fucking stupid. But they're like, you have to. Wayne. A lot of really dry, darkly lit Zack Snyder scenes where he shows up to like a boardroom and he gives some politician some enormous discretionary bonus to like let some bill pass. Found out everyone, like all of his friends are rich too. Like all the other superheroes are rich and they're all fucking kids. They're like, well, what the fuck, Batman? We thought you were in the Deep State already. And fucking his face is on InfoWars, and he's just like, oh, God, I gotta do this. So he finds out the only way they'll let him out of the whole we're like, we'll put a chip in your brain and wipe your mind of all of this. You could just go back to being Batman. but the only way to do it is you gotta go to this prison and you gotta whack Epstein. And he's like, no, not Epstein, because it will have like a flashback where they're best friends or whatever. And it's also going to turn out that Batman's parents were also murdered by the Deep State because they're also like billionaires or whatever, and they didn't put up with the Deep State either. So that guy was actually an Illuminati hitman posing as a simple mugger. And you know, the whole thing is just like all the news footage. He goes back and watches it, and it's just like he's at the back computer, right? He's going at the back computer, typing in. And he's looking at, like, the interviews from, like, the shooting in the area, because it was, like, a crowded area or whatever, and a bunch of people, like, ran over and heard it and saw it. And all the interviews are, like, these people, like, oh, God, I can't believe it. It's terrible. They were just gunned down. And then, like, Bruce Wayne's like, wait a minute, computer, fucking enhance that guy who gave that report, who gave that statement. And then, like, it flashes forward to another shooting that happened, like, 10 years later, and it's the same guy, and he says the exact same thing. I just can't believe it. They shot him. And Batman's like, wait a minute, and then he like facial recognizes and like fucking references it with the FBI like camera or the FBI like files because he can hack into it. He's all like, who is this guy really? And it turns out he's a CIA operative who's been in Afghanistan for 5 years. Come to think of it, it's the same guy who shoved the syringe into his neck. Weird.